Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode, we're going to be checking out a piece by the established or career 3D artist known as Jared Pike. This episode, we're going to be talking about one-point perspective, near-symmetrical harmony. We're also going to break down the liminal spaces or the influences of the dream pool. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, you're kind of met within a perspective. It's kind of a hovering perspective here within this really grand pool room. Of course, it is a quite the calm composition in that initial conveyance, but it certainly catches the eye for sure. And so the kind of main subject appears to be this really large pool. Of course, it stretches out, and due to that one-point perspective, it appears to be kind of smaller down there, but certainly catches the eye. It is set in center, so it feels like everything revolves around that central element. It pulls our attention in there and certainly captures it. So we see kind of what I would call a dark on light contrast, although it is multiple variants. Of course, you have that shadow going off. So it is multiple different types of contrast, but that contrast really pops out, catches the eye, and brings us into the center of the composition. And so we see kind of a one-point perspective here. Of course, all edges appear to converge, or almost all edges appear to converge towards a singular vanishing point. So that does create one-point perspective, kind of gives this effect. If you've looked at train tracks kind of standing in the middle, you certainly see that as well. Everything, of course, converges down to this hallway. So there is this sense of harmony within the work at hand. And so with that in mind, we do see a near-symmetrical spatial composition. And I say near symmetry because it's not perfect, right? We have some windows on the right side, but we don't have those on the left. So there is some variation there. We have, of course, the steps there as well. A little bit of variation. So not complete symmetry, although it is near symmetrical. So that does create a very ordered, a very kind of balanced and harmonious visual experience. So if you're looking at this and you think, wow, this feels tranquil and balanced, that's likely going to be that near symmetrical spatial composition. And so with this in mind, this is a very tranquil piece. One, some people may feel invited to kind of sit down, relax, and unwind at the pool, while others may look at this and see a little bit of unsettling themes, right? It's extremely sterile. We don't see any kind of chairs or anything like that, although some may feel invited to sit down, while others may kind of shriek at the sterility of the scene before us. So all very important when we're looking at this work. And so, like I said, our setting appears to be some type of large pool room. And like I said, it's incredibly sterile. There's not really any elements in the spatial composition other than, say, a few light sources, the kind of sky frame, oculus, if you will. There isn't too much going on here. So that does, of course, emphasize the visual impact of the elements that are here. So the pool, for example, and the element of light and the skylight, those are going to be and of course the backing all the way down there, all of those are going to draw our eye because there really isn't anything else to look at here. And so you'll also see this kind of sterile vaporwave pool aesthetic. I actually brought some of the other works that Jared Pike has. So this is from the Dream Pool series. So the Dream Pool series is Liminal Spaces, Dream Core, so many different things. We're going to go a bit deeper that here in a second, but I have some works I wanted to kind of compare here. So the first one we're going to look at is actually the daytime variant to the nighttime variant. We're going to check that out real quick. All right, so I have the daytime as well as the nighttime variant of the work at hand. You can really see kind of the flexibility or the dynamism of the work at hand. So as a creative person, you're always creating something new. And even when you do create something new, you're going to create many different variants of that same thing. So we certainly see an example of that for sure. So on the left, for example, that's much more classic to the Dream Pool aesthetic that we know Jared Pike as. And then on the right, there is a bit of deviation, but I love these kind of golden, warm tones, really, really nice here. And of course, both the works are pretty much the exact same, but you'll notice how the impact of light changes it quite a bit. Of course, it emphasizes, say, in the right side, it emphasizes the elements of the skylight, but on here, we can barely even make out any edges. So there is, a lot of different things that you can bring out from both different experiences, and I really like how the night variant kind of accents and emphasizes the impact of light within the spatial composition. So that's really interesting to look at. All right, and I actually brought two more works here. Both are from Jared Pike as well. It's going to be the second Dream Pool series ever recorded. So this was actually the first instance of what we see as that really kind of aqua, sterile white tile. So we see the influence there that can certainly be connected to the kind of daytime variant. And then the nighttime variant, he actually created a what he calls something new or something a little bit different. And so you can definitely see how his traditional style of the really bright, the really sterile experience can be just changed slightly to, of course, create a nighttime variant with those golden tones, the golden hour, the sunset, really different visual experiences, but of course all live within the greater world of Dream Core, the Dream Pool, and all liminal spaces as well. And so what's strange about this space is it doesn't actually exist, right? It only exists within the 3D rendering medium it was created in, and then of course it's endless replication across the interconnected metaverse. So people screenshot, repost so many different things. You can't go to this actual real place. So with that in mind, there is kind of a space of simulation within the work at hand. Where really, that's nothing new, right? Whether you play video games, whether you kind of go into VR, anything like that, you can certainly see spaces of simulation. But what's so strange that this place never existed, yet it feels strangely real. It feels a little bit surreal, a little bit real at the same time, kind of foots in both worlds simultaneously. And so this is part of what we would call the liminal spaces. So a liminal space, by definition, is any space of transition. So any around here, whether it's the hallway, maybe the transition of light through this area as well, all of those are technically liminal spaces. And so what we normally see, this is also referred to as the back rooms. So the back rooms are often endless, sterile, vacant, quite unsettling for sure. So this is kind of the origins that you can really draw from. The back rooms, liminal spaces, dream core art, kind of all intersects to create the dream pool. And so the dream pool, of course, created by Jared Pike in late December of 2020, has seen immense influence, especially in 2021, and then of course greater in this year of 2022. So the influence of the dream pool, you see so many people in the 3D art scene, creating those digital renderings, trying to replicate what Jared Pike has done. So just an amazing work. Jared Pike always delivers, and the dream pool is incredibly important, especially if you start seeing kind of the pool core aesthetic that's been popping up a lot more recently. And so, like I said, this is a rendering, so it provides immense realism within kind of a simulated space. And with that in mind, some people have even thought that this was a real place. I've had people ask me, is there something I'm missing here? Is this a real place? So digital renderings are so realistic that it can even kind of trick you into thinking that this is a real place that you could go to. So incredible, incredible work coming from Pike. If you want to get into the digital rendering, it really allows so many different capabilities. Of course, incredibly realistic as well. So hope y'all enjoyed today. If you guys did, go check out the original artist, Jared Pike, always doing some really good stuff. We talked about near-symmetrical harmony, one-point perspective, liminal spaces, dream core, so many different things we touched on today. So I hope y'all enjoyed. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.